What's up, guys? This is K-Lo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines. And who better to join me today than my sous chef Aden? Why don't you say what's up?
I am not Aiden. I am Netta. I have been rebooted.
Re-
Thank you.
Rebooted, rewritten. But what isn't rewritten is the fact that we're going to thank each and every person out there who is liking these videos and keeping it locked to Game Sandwich for all your gaming news, rumors, and reviews. Now, we got what is this, a 3-for-1 special? Or 2-for-1? Is it a 2-for or a 3-for? Are we counting 3?
I'll say three.
All right, 3-for-1. What if I told you there were 3 different rewrites to GTA 6? And guess what? We got the details, and we're going to run through each and every rewrite, reboot, and whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays. Now, we've talked at length about how GTA 6, quietly, not really quietly, the biggest video game release of all time. It's going to be massive. And there's a lot riding on it. There's a lot of expectations, a lot of this, a lot of that. We've seen our characters, we have the biographies for them. But as we all know, game development is very fluid, things change, and while this game has been in development for quite a long time, I'd say Project Americas dates back to November of 2013. This has had time in the oven. Now, before we dive into each and all the breakdowns of like what GTA 6 was versus what it is, Aiden, we're feeling good about GTA 6, right? We're not worried. We're not thinking there's another
I'm
delay.
feeling good about it.
No other delay.
I'm no. I'm feeling good about it. I think the delay was a one-time thing. I think it's
Okay.
just that one delay. We're good.
I-
We're Gucci.
I'm holding them to it. This time next year, if I'm not playing GTA 6, we're coming back to this video. We're going to play it. And then we're going to blame him for all the bad stuff that has happened. But, yeah, I know. You got to take something here. But,
I'll take it.
there is an original version of GTA 6. It does return to Vice City, which Vice City seems to be the nailed down part of all of this. Now, in this project, there is a synopsis for 3 different characters. The writers was led by Dan Houser, who had imagined a detective plot worthy of a thriller centered around these 3 characters. Protagonist number 1, there's no names to this, is an old Vice City police officer who is repeated to be incorruptible. So again, he's a good guy. He doesn't like to be that. But at the end of the day, he ends up falling into organized crime in order to protect his son, who has fallen into the dangers of drug use. So, goody two-shoes trying to protect his son seems on par with a GTA character. Now, protagonist number 2 is the police officer's son, a very religious Cuban-American junkie who tries to escape his addictions and the dangers posed by drug trafficking world. So, it'd be nice to see the son's perspective. Now, who's number 3? That is the right-hand man of the Colombian drug lord who manages the importation of narcotics into the U.S. via Vice City. His ambition is to found his own empire in North America. So, this story gives you all ends of the spectrum. The police, the person using the drugs, and then the person selling the drugs. What do you think of this as a follow-up to GTA 5, who did have 3 characters, who had the rich guy, who had the guy in the hood, and then whatever we're gonna label Trevor as, the weird crackhead in the corner store. What do you think about this story?
Okay, so to be frank with everybody, I never really played the story for GTA 5. I didn't necessarily care, honestly. I played around with it a little bit. I played bits and pieces, never beat it. I was more focused on the online. GTA 6, I'm actually more focused on the story now because it looks more interesting to me in general, but I was also a lot younger whenever GTA 5 released, so you can blame my age for that one. Maybe at some point I'll go back through and actually play GTA 5. But in general, though, this one actually sounds really good to me.
It
Like
does.
I have nothing against the whole Lucia and Jason thing, like inspired by Bonnie and Clyde. Nothing against it. It looks good to me. But honestly, I'm kind of sad we didn't get this because And we posed the question too, like, well, at least you did, is like, is video like are video game stories getting too dark? Like, is there a certain line to cross? I mean, I think that line was kind of crossed whenever you had that one game called Agony, where you go through literal hell, and there's a lot of really messed up stuff in there from like naked demons and everything, and like doing a bunch of that. Like, I think there's a certain line there to kind of cross, but
Yeah.
like with this stuff, I don't think there really is. I mean, if they delve into the world of like addiction and self-harm and everything like that, I think it would just make for a more compelling story. It's like watching a movie about it, you know? It's very compelling.
Yeah, and the one thing about Grand Theft Auto in general, more often than not, it's a reflection of the times, a period piece where it's like there will be a satire based on all of the things happening in the world. There's going to be takes on controversial issues. There's going to be various bits and pieces of the campaign that speak to a certain audience that is going through something. And this is where I think video games are very good, where, you know, to somebody who isn't well versed in like what's going on with drugs in the United States or what's going on with crime, this is a good way for them to kind of get clued in on. While it is over the top and GTA is very much all of this turned up to 10, it raises the question or it plants the seed of, oh, this is, you know, this is a
Yeah.
thing. This is something that people deal with.
Okay. Curiosity, have you ever seen that one show called 13 Reasons Why?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Was that too dark to you?
I remember the talk around this being, yes, it was too dark. There were a few scenes in that show and just things in general that made me feel like, oh, like this is
Makes you feel
heavy.
uncomfortable,
Yeah, this is
you
very
know?
heavy. Yeah,
But
no.
like, I don't know, to me, that's a sign of good storytelling.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if you're delving into that world of making someone feel uncomfortable, then you're showing them the harsh reality of something. You're showing them something that they don't quite understand. So that's why it gives them that uncomfortableness. And they're like, oh my God, this is real,
Yeah.
you know?
No,
And so that's why I'm nothing against this.
no, I exactly what you said. If you can get someone to have that physical and emotional response to your game and not just be the oh my gosh, that stuff is so gory or like you feel an emotion towards a character, whether it's a death, whether it is how their story ends, I think you're doing everything right. And for to say that like we're gonna get this story of a police officer and a junkie and the drug lord, I don't think it's gonna be done in a like a very distasteful way. I think if anything, Rockstar will handle that story and that dynamic of these three characters, these three ends of the spectrum, in such grace and just the way that Rockstar games are. I mean, I look at Red Dead Redemption 2 and how each of those stories that intertwined through the Vanderlyn gang and like even GTA 5 more comparable. Those stories interwove at certain points, people crossed paths and they handled it great. Like I don't think there was any error there. But yeah, no, it makes you think what could have been. And apparently there was another like a weird second stage reboot to the original or something. Let's talk about that.
So they had the original, and then there were two script reboots, the article says. So if you want to check it out, it's from Medium. We can put a link to it, or we can also flash pictures of it over here if Kevin decides.
Somewhere.
But the second, like the premiere reboot, they call it on here, had two protagonists this time. One was a policewoman's daughter of a Vice City cop who was murdered while on duty on a quest for personal revenge with the goal of infiltrating the local underworld in order to dismantle it while doing this completely illegally alongside her service as a police officer. So you just play as a police officer who's looking to get revenge after her mother was dead, like mother was killed. Now, the second protagonist is a drug smuggler's underling, quite crazy like Trevor from GTA 5, rising in rank as the story progresses. So, that one you're just, starting off as like a simple little smuggler. By the end, you're super high in the ranks of it. I don't know how it works in the underworld. I'm not part of the underworld, so
That's what
at least
someone
not
would say
yet.
if they weren't in the underworld. I
Yeah.
so uh, this story, especially for protagonist one, who is the policewoman, this reminds me of Mafia 3, where I don't know. Have you played Mafia 3? I don't know. I don't want
I've not played the Mafia games.
to. Okay, so spoiler for people out there. You play as a person coming home from war, and their family has ties to criminal activities. A heist goes wrong, they get betrayed, and then the protagonist's family gets killed right in front of him, and then he's on a quest for revenge. This sounds very much like that. And I do, again, modern problems, modern things where it's like, this is all centric around drug use, police, and criminal organizations. Again, where that is what's going on in the world today. But we were talking about, is a story too dark? I don't see where this can get like too, out there, or like too in the weeds of, man, I don't know. I mean, like, this game's gonna be rated M for mature, right? Like, it's not being rated T for teen. Like, this is gonna be for adult audiences.
Of course. I mean, like, again, I have nothing against this one. I think it's fine. I don't think it's nearly as dark as your first one.
No.
And I mean, this one seems very also very compelling. I mean, honestly, I'm less compelled by this one, just solely because it's a revenge story and it feels like those are very common. And so like that I'm more or less like, I don't like that as a revenge story, but we'll see how it goes, you know? Maybe the second protagonist is like linked to the first one, maybe the second protagonist is the one who killed the policewoman's mom or something, who knows? So we'll have to see. Or, well, I guess it doesn't say mom specifically, but I figured her mom was the cop or whatever. It's just as daughter of a Vice City cop.
Yeah, it's like,
But,
probably the mom like pops back up or something like that. I don't know. She's in the
I mean, it
hospital
could be
for
her
the whole
dad that
game.
was murdered too or something. I don't know.
Ah.
I just kept assuming it was mom. I
Yeah, well,
don't
it
know
says a
why.
policewoman, daughter of a Vice City cop who was murdered while on duty. So
Yeah.
whatever. But like, what this shows you is that, again, like I said at the top of this episode, game development is so fluid and ever so changing. We went from having 3 characters, which I think that is the closest to GTA 5 they got. And then as time went on, they were like, all right, we're going to kind of narrow down the story or refine it even more and split it against 2 characters. And then I think through a set of like just general rewrites and a break, this is how we fell on Jason and Lucia. So I'm totally fine with what we have. Like, I think that the idea that we're focusing in on a former military man and a Latina from Liberty City, I think we can get a lot out of that, especially Lucia coming out of the prison system. Um, I want to ask you now, do you think there's more that meets the eye with what we have with Jason and Lucia? I mean, we did talk about, for a very brief amount of time, what I call the Paul Walker in Too Fast, Too Furious storyline, where Jason is a cop who's undercover and then he double crosses. I mean, like, it's perfect. They're in Miami. This is the Paul Walker storyline. I think this is what we get here. I think he turns.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I don't think.
You don't think he
But
turns?
I don't know. So there was a third reboot
Okay.
that we just like that we didn't mention. That just it's very brief. It basically turned into what we have, which is the policewoman was replaced by an African American man who was a former soldier, released from prison and just fell into the criminal underworld. Obviously, this kind of like as Medium points out, this kind of got restructured into Jason, who is the former military man who falls in the criminal underworld. I have a feeling it's not going to be the Paul Walker storyline, though, that people kept saying. It's going to be like, hey, he came back due to a failed system where we don't protect our veterans, and can't even tell me that we don't do that.
It's true.
He fell into the criminal underworld because he really needed money. I'm going to say he was probably desperate. He probably wasn't able to get a job or something. Maybe he has PTSD. Maybe we'll explore that. Maybe there will be moments where he suffers through PTSD and it'll be really like a strong character connection for him. That could be possible. And maybe that's the reason why he can't hold a job or anything like that and he fell into the criminal underworld because it's more or less what he was used to from war.
Mm-hmm.
It's very possible. And
And
then there you go. And he happened to fall in love with Lucia. Maybe he fell in love with Lucia before he went to war, came back, she was still waiting for him or something. I don't know. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it.
and we talk about like stories being too dark. The one thing that stands out in my mind as being like too dark, Modern Warfare, No Russian, that story mission where you literally go through an airport and just mow down crowds of people. I remember
Yeah.
whenever this game came out and like word got around that that mission was in the game.
I remember playing that mission as a kid.
I was just about to say, like, I
I
was
was like
in.
12 when I played that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was very young when I played this game, and I remember there being an option where it's like, hey, this next mission is kind of heavy. You can skip it if you want. And, you know, this is the general thing of I felt like that was too dark to be put in a game versus anything that they're talking about right here. Like, it just doesn't seem comparable.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, to rectify things here, I was actually like 15 whenever I
Okay.
played that, but
Give or take. It's still very
I
young.
mean, I wasn't the M rating it suggested by
Yeah.
any means. And I mean, I generally didn't think that was too dark. But then again, I'm also someone who's like, hey, you know what? Give me a Saw movie and I don't think that's too dark, you know? Like I'm just like,
Yeah.
anything nothing's too dark really to me. Like you have to go really above and beyond for it to be too dark. Because I like getting attached to characters. I like seeing them have this dramatic downfall or like have this really heartfelt, gut-wrenching moment. And it makes me feel for them, you know? I love that stuff.
I agree fully. I think that whenever we talk about game campaigns and like GTA being a very high priced game, I want to get the most out of it. And whether that is an emotional story that I'm going to remember for years to come. I mean, I still talk about Red Dead Redemption 2's story, Arthur Morgan's arc through that whole game, even John Marston in Red Dead 1 and then his start in that game. You know, these are the things that like if the game is $100 and it has this emotional story that I'm gonna remember forever, I honestly don't care how much I pay for it because I do care. Don't go over 100 because then we have the conversation. Let me just stop that
Rockstar, you
train.
have the green light.
Let me
Go
stop that.
150.
Let me stop that train right there. But like, you get what I'm saying as far as like, give me the quality, give me everything that proves why this game is this much, and I'll be happy. Like Rockstar for their stories, I honestly don't have any sort of like doubt as far as like this is going to be a bad story. They're going to churn out a bad one. I think they're far too good at this to like not make a good story, even out of Jason and Lucia.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have confidence in them. I don't I don't think the GTA 6 story is going to be bad. You know, it's going to be one of those, oh, is it as good as the previous one? Is it as good as the story in 4 or 3 or whatever?
Yeah.
It's going to draw a comparison with that, but I really if you view it as a whole of what it is, I don't think it's going to be viewed as a bad game at all. I don't think it's going to be viewed as having a bad story because like you said, Rockstar is good at that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that there's gonna be like bad moments in it where we're gonna be like, oh man, we get to see how dark Jason really is, or we get to see how like dark the criminal underworld was for Lucia and everything. I'm sure we'll see it.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking as far as like we've seen these alleged archetypes for all these protagonists. Who's to say that like we get through the GTA 6 campaign and maybe one of these mini stories can be a side mission where it's like you help a cop who has a junkie son or daughter and then you have to go look for the drug lord or whatever. Like these from what they've invested as far as like backstory and just thought behind these characters, I think they're too valuable to throw away and be like, yeah, we're not going to see these things come to life. I think these can definitely be crafted into some type of backstory, maybe a best friend to one of the two main characters. I think it's out there, and just moving forward for GTA 6, whenever we do play it, keep your eyes peeled. Maybe one of these characters does sneak in as like a side character.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think that they probably will. I don't think you're gonna like go through the process of crafting some sort of story and just be like, oh, let me completely scrap it. You're gonna leave remnants.
Oh, yeah. No, without a doubt. And
Yeah.
if I had to pick from the bunch, I think it's from that first set of three characters, the police officer, the junkie, and the drug lord, where it's like, I can see those being characters for sure within this game, whether they are the remnants of like a coked up teenager is like driving through Vice City or whatever. I don't know. Take your pick at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be something like that. Like you said, it could be coked up teenager driving through Vice City, ex cop or something is trying to track him down, or like his father, who is a cop, is trying to track him down, and everything hires you to go do that.
Yeah.
Because maybe he'll get in too much trouble or something if he goes. Yada yada yada. Maybe he'll lose his job. Whatever.
Who knows? Who knows? But I have full confidence in GTA 6's story. There's really no doubts there. But it is interesting, like, as a fan of this franchise, to get a peek behind the curtain and see where the game was versus where it is and everything in between. You normally don't get a good look like that. And yeah, no, it just goes to show you things change, and they change often. And no wonder why this game took 15 friggin' years to come out, or damn near 20. I don't know. I've lost track of time there.
Yeah, same.
But with all that being said, that about does it here for this episode of Community Kitchen. We hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to talk more about your favorite games or GTA 6, join our Discord where we're talking about games 24/7, 365. But as of right now, I've been K-Lo, joined by Aden, and we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.